In 1975, Ronald DeFeo was claiming that he was innocent of killing everybody in the Amityville Horror House. Well, I had to know, so I broke in and found out the truth. The story of my life. Let's set the stage. Gerald Ford was president, still dealing with the fallout from Watergate. The Vietnam War had officially ended a few months earlier. On the radio, you'd hear things like, "Love Will Keep Us Together" by Captain and Tennille. Love will keep us together. And "The Hustle" by Van McCoy. Do it. Do it. And "A Shark Named Bruce" was about to take over the box office.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
And be the first summer blockbuster. And in Amityville, Long Island, New York, a house sat vacant. 112 Ocean Avenue. An address we all knew. Only 2 towns over in Lindenhurst. Well, it was too much temptation to resist. The newspapers were filled with the story of the Amityville Horror, and how Ronald DeFeo had slaughtered his entire family in that house. And there were whisperings of him claiming insanity and possession. I scoffed, and all of my friends dared me to spend a night in that house. So I did. Around about mid-July of 1975, I walked up the front lawn of that house, crept around the back of it, it was after sunset, and found a broken window that led into the basement of what would come to be known as the Amityville Horror. Without hesitation, I climbed in and I spent the entire night. A friend picked me up just before sunrise the following morning, and I found absolutely nothing. Yeah, the house was a little bit creepy because it was a pretty big house. I'm showing you a picture of it right now, and it was empty and silent. There was nothing that went bump in the night. There was no windows covered with flies. There was no demonic screaming. There was just silence. And I fell asleep probably around midnight. Woke up at around 4:30 a.m. Nothing. And that is why when I became a paranormal investigator many, many years later, I had absolutely no respect for Ed and Lorraine Warren, the people who made their bones, so to speak, on the Amityville Horror House. They went in at the request of the Lutzes as demonologists to investigate the house, and they found all these things, and their investigation is the basis for the movie, The Amityville Horror. Their further investigations are the subject of a number of movies like Annabelle and others. And then sometime around 2011, I met their nephew, John Zaffis, who had a television show called The Haunted Collector, and we all started calling him the Haunted Thief. On The Haunted Collector, he would go into these houses that had claims of being haunted, and he would claim that some object that they had in the house was actually possessed. So he would zero in on that object and then take it out of there and bring it to his haunted museum, which he was charging admission for. And the people who gave up the item, whether it was a doll or a rocking chair or some such thing, got no compensation for it. He would simply take it out, and their compensation would be that they were no longer possessed by demons. John Zaffis is a creep and a thief. And Ed and Lorraine Warren are nothing but 2 sideshow barkers who managed to make their way and their fame on lies and false storytelling. And that was, in a way, I should thank them, because their ridiculousness is partially what drove my philosophy of ghost hunting and paranormal investigation. I wasn't going to call some dust bunny an orb. I wasn't going to, as myself and one of the more famous paranormal investigators, Dustin Parry, once joked, I wasn't going to get possessed right before the commercial break. So, yeah, in 1975, I committed a crime, breaking and entering, and trespassing, and loitering, and whatever else you want to call it. But I was 15 years old and never got caught. And now the statute of limitations is long gone. So I feel confident in revealing this all on YouTube. This is part 2 of my paranormal series, outlining my history in the paranormal field. Next week, I'm going to take you through the teams I belong to and how they all led to me forming what was at the time the largest paranormal group on the East Coast. I'm Felix, and these are the stories of my life.